Okay, so I was going to do another video, and I planned to do something similar. And although I did like the ones that I'd done before, I thought that it's not going to get very far in terms of me trying to give advice, my opinions, and some thoughts on fitness and other things, or whatever I decide to do a video on. I'm not particularly tied to fitness. It's just something that I'm passionate about at the moment, and maybe I'll transition to talking about other things that I'm passionate about down the line. But then I realised that, well, it's all good just making random videos and saying random things and giving some context, but and giving people some context and some ideas, but without actually giving the context of who I am, why I'm doing what I'm doing, and maybe why you'd want to listen to me or might find something worth listening to or sticking around for, we weren't going to get very far. So I thought, rather than do some clickbaity title as a trick about how I lost 20 kilograms in 14 weeks, which is pretty good going, and I will do a video on that. We'll get to diet in another parts down the line. If for some reason you've seen my other videos, you've seen I either did a video on supplements, or don't even remember what the other one was I did, but given that I'm doing these about once a bloody half, quite difficult to keep in my head. So what I'm trying to do is do something a bit more honest, a bit more genuine, and a bit more raw to give some context on who I am. So my name's Seb. I've been training for about 11, 12 years. I know I don't have the gains to show for it. Shocking. Which is probably going to hurt my credibility, because a big part of being credible online is not what you know, how you train, or your evidence. It's just whether or not you're massive or not. And what you can do now that's really helpful is just take gear and lie about it. And that's highly effective in terms of getting people to buy your products, because there's been loads of people that have traded off that model of just lying about taking gear and then lying about the supplements that they use to try and get you to buy whatever stupid thing that they've got that they want to flog you at the time, whether it be a peptide or peptides are the new ones, or some different kind of pre-workout, or testosterone or ecdysterone, or any kind of different stupid thing that isn't just good old-fashioned test or tren or both. That's what gets the real results, because, well, steroids are the ultimate supplement because they really fucking work and they really make you, they really help, but they obviously come with a load of side effects because they work so well. Anything else that you're expecting to get more than 5%, 5% still optimistic. I think even creatine, the most proven supplement, will only give you like 2%, realistically speaking, which is a good 2% to get. And there's just benefits in general to taking creatine, so I don't knock it, but nothing's going to get you that. What are that, 20 pounds in 2 years kind of massive gains quite as well as good old fashioned testosterone. But anyway, not really the point I wanted to go into or talk about. What I actually wanted to discuss was basically, as I said, I've been training for 10 years, 11 years, nearly 12 years. And I'm going to try and use this YouTube channel to give some context on some of the thoughts, and hopefully try and speed up other people in their fitness journey and what they try and find or what they try and get out of it. I guess what I would say is that, I've spent the last 12 years trying to get as much information as possible to really improve my training. And although there's already a good wealth of people out there doing incredible work, like Jeff Nippard, what's he called? Renaissance Periodization, Dr. Andrew Galpin, and look, a million and one different other people that you could go to and get information from and get ideas. It never hurts to have more of the same information out there, especially if it's good information, because there's definitely a lot of bad information out of it, and there's definitely a lot of bad information out there, and it's a lot of the same bad information. I'm still seeing stuff where people are trying to tell people to buy BCAAs and EAAs because they help, which, despite them being essentially disproven time and time again, and even if they were somewhat effective, they're never going to be proven to be more effective than just eating a good amount of food, especially a good amount of protein. So, because it's the same thing that you would get in normal food sources. So the best they can ever be is as good as something that already exists and is normally cheaper. So, but I still see people trying to sell them. I still see people swearing by them, making sure they get their EAAs and BCAAs. And so, those are the kind of things that I want to try and add in information to and give more context to on the other side. I really enjoy talking about fitness. I really enjoy talking about health and all the benefits that come from it. For me, when I started out, I was incredibly thin, incredibly skinny. And given that I'm 6'9", that was exacerbated massively, just visually, that because even if I was like what would be normal, like I had a normal waist and normal shoulders, that I'm someone who was like 5 foot or whatever, 5'10" or whatever, like a normal height, wouldn't have looked too bad. Because of my height, I looked a bit stretched and a bit extreme. And it was something that, because you're tall and a guy, everyone seems it's just free reign to comment on your body all the time. Which, look, don't get me wrong, if you're that bothered about it, make the effort and make the change, which is what I did. But still, it did cause some insecurities in my earlier years and caused me to try my hardest to train and get big and change how I looked, but without any real guidance and with just trying to do some random stuff online, which actually resulted in me doing a lot of, getting a lot of workouts off bodybuilding.com and talking to people through bodybuilding.com, which if anyone knew what that was like about 15 years ago, what would it have been? Yeah. 12. Yeah, been about 12 years ago. Bodybuilding.com was a bit of a rogue place that got better as time went on, but had some crazy stuff on it. And I'm sure I can find a link to a video or some of the forums or some of the stuff that used to be on there. But anyway, after a bit of a ramble, but that's pretty much what I am and how I am. I thought I'd do this nice little video just to say, look, if you want more content that I'm going to make, if you want to subscribe or comment or feedback, everything is appreciated. I'm going to try and make videos irrelevant if people watch them, because I'm under the premise that I can only get better. And as I get better, more people will watch. Maybe I'm wrong. We'll see. I'm going to try and make one video a month from here on out. So it'll be 12 in a year. Good maths from me. And that's going to be my goal, to slowly get better at making these videos, hopefully get some feedback from anyone who's unfortunate enough to watch them. And yeah, try and give a little bit of advice, or try and help as best as I can to get more positive information out there that other people can take on and use to better themselves, in the same way that I took information from people when I was learning and getting into it, and still do that now. And the more time I spend doing that, the better it is, because even if I help one person, that's a win. But if by some miracle I manage to help 1,000 people, then that's incredible. And there's nothing I want to do more than help people in the best way possible, which in my opinion is through YouTube and through other services like that are free and anyone can access, because good positive information should be free and readily available for everyone. So I'm going to try and add to that. Aside from that, that's all I've got. So just a little intro video here that I can put out so everyone can see, and on to the next. Cheers.